It's a blessing to welcome on one of the quickest rising guys right now in college basketball. He's already won co-freshman of the week in the Big Ten. Zach Edey, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Well, you're really one of the biggest surprises of college basketball so far. You've come in as a guy that was supposed to maybe get some minutes in there, but just be a part of Purdue, maybe a long-term development guy. We come to today now. You've already won Big Ten Player Freshman of the Week. You've already become a guy that's starting for their team. Take us through how you're growing into this and how you're really adjusting and moving into this quickly.
Yeah, I think it's been great. Purdue's been great for me. The coaches have been really helping me, and yeah, it's all credit to the coaches, all credit to my teammates. They've been really helping me adjust quickly and help me be able to do the things I'm doing.
If we go back about a month ago before the season started, did you see yourself becoming a starter this quickly?
No, not in the summer, not in the not a month ago. But once I started getting in the game, started producing, I felt like I could have a role here on the team.
Now, most freshmen take some time to develop, especially with the COVID year where it's not a normal practices throughout the summer. You come in right away and able to be an impact player, and you even led the team in scoring. You're still a top three guy in your team in scoring. How are you able to feel so confident in that first game and so far?
Like I said, just taking all the stuff I've gotten in practice, bringing it into the games, working on different stuff in practice, having great guys like Trey to be able to practice against every day. That's just been big in my development and helped me be an impact player immediately.
I want to go through this journey a little bit because you haven't been playing basketball too long. About a year or so ago, you went to IMG. You were playing out there for your final year. Kind of take us through this. How did you find the game of basketball, and really, how did you fall in love with this game?
So I'd always played baseball and hockey like growing up all my life, but in baseball, my arm was kind of going. I had some problems every time I pitched. My arm would hurt. Felt like it was like hanging. So I decided like I couldn't really play baseball anymore. And at the same time, my friend's dad took over like kind of like a rec team around the area, and I said I'd join because he's been playing baseball basketball a while. He really loves it. He always was trying to get me to play. So I said I joined just kind of as a favor to him, and I loved it. It was like I loved it from the start, from the first practice I went to, and kept going back, and I haven't regretted it since.
We see you now. You're 7'4". Have you always been this tall? Have you always been one of the taller guys out there, or is there really one big growth spurt that really brought you to this height?
I've always been like super tall, but I'd say the for grade 7 and 8 is when I really started growing. I went from around 6 foot in grade 7 to 6'10" by the end of my grade 8 year.
That's a huge jump. Not a lot of guys get 10 inches in about a 2 year span. How did your body adjust to that? That had to be a little hard in you, I can imagine. How did you grow into that and get used to it?
I was uh, obviously skinny for a few years.
Mhm.
I was never like super skinny, but I think at one point I was like 6'10", 210, and then I just started feeling out. I just naturally fill out. IMG really helped with that. Helped with getting my body like in proportion to my size. Helped me put on weight. But I think it really helped me because I was playing baseball at that time. It helped my keep my hand-eye coordination there. It
Mhm.
helped keep all my coordination. And hockey helped my legs keep like stable base. So even though I was running a lot, I was still playing sports, and I still was able to stay coordinated.
Everyone kind of knows IMG now as the place to go for development for the college level, pro level. It's almost as if you're going to college campus. You have all the technology, all the equipment to get better there. Take us to that move. You go from Canada out there to go to IMG. What was that decision? Why you choose IMG?
So my coach, my AU coach in Canada, he knew a few people at IMG, so he had kind of like an in. So I really didn't really know anything about it. He described it as like this crazy place to go to get better at like basketball.
Mhm.
I didn't know anything about it, and then I went to something called the workout, which is just it's like a camp being held there.
Mhm.
I went there. I saw it was a crazy place. I saw it was everything he said it was. It was you have to take a tram to get around campus,
Mhm.
and I just loved it. And I decided like at first it was tough because I only been playing basketball for like half a year, so it was tough to make the decision to leave home to pursue this. But in my mind, I kind of came to the conclusion that if I really want to go college, if I really want to take this seriously, I'm either going to go to IMG this year or next year, and there's no point in like waiting a year. So I decided I'd just go that year, and I ended up not transferring, but I ended up going there after the summer was over.
I want to touch up a little bit on Canada basketball. Now, you haven't played obviously too much out there because, like you said, you started really your first time playing was out there in Florida then. But Canada basketball is really developed right now. There's more and more guys starting to go to the NBA, head to college from Canada. What's like kind of seeing this growth and this movement of Canadian basketball?
And it's just like it's becoming part of the culture in Toronto, at least. Everyone wants to play basketball. If you don't play hockey, you basically play basketball. And basketball is becoming kind of like the quote unquote cool sport.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's starting to play it. Everybody's starting to pick it up. People are starting to grind at it and really work at it. And the higher the competition is around you, that's why, especially in Toronto, everyone's so good at basketball that it makes everyone else want to be just as good. So it's like everyone's pushing each other to get better and just raising the level overall.
Your own personal view, we know hockey's kind of dominated Canada for a long time. Is basketball creeping up on that, or has basketball maybe surpassed hockey yet?
Definitely not surpassed, but it's definitely creeping up. It's becoming like they're becoming the 1 and 2 sports in Toronto, basically. But yeah, I think hockey's gonna be in Canada for a while.
Mm-hmm. Long term now, we know that you also have the goals of playing NBA, potentially represent your country, playing on the national team someday. But what would it be like to potentially represent your country someday?
It would be everything. Being able to play on the national stage in front of a national audience, maybe just a great experience.
Well, let's kind of go through your past year at IMG. You're developing throughout the year. When did you first start feeling confident, though, in your own game? When you started really feeling like you knew how to play, you really started getting really as confident playing the game of basketball. When would you say that was?
I've always kind of had like natural confidence to myself. I've always believed that I can do whatever I need to succeed. But I'd say that summer before my second year at IMG is when I really started realizing like what I can do on the court and how I can impact the game. I say that summer, that's when I picked up a lot of my offers, and that's when I got a lot of my confidence.
And we mentioned that IMG really is this incredible place, technology, equipment wise, but also it's the best of the best for all the different sports across any sport you really think of. So you're competing against the best football, basketball, tennis, anyone kind of players just in that environment. How does that drive you? How does that push you being able to watch all these athletes of all different sports work for their own craft and really try to get into the best they can be?
I mean, it's great being able to see like what it takes to be. I think we had like the number 1 golfer at one point. We had like a top 10 tennis player. See what they do, see how much they grind to be great in their sports, and it makes you want to grind just as much. But same thing happens in basketball. We have tons of talent there. Bunch of people that are ranked in their class. Everyone has D1 offers, 2 top 10s. So you get to see what they do behind the curtains. Because you always see like their highlights, you always see their mixtapes and stuff like that. But you get to see how much they grind like behind the curtain that no one sees. So that really pushed you to work harder.
This wasn't always your own shoes. You're a guy that was not really ranked in anything. I think how did that kind of put a chip on your shoulder? How would you kind of react to seeing the rankings and seeing people not really give you attention you might deserve?
I just ignored it. I wasn't too worried about how a random analyst sees my game and sees how I impact the game. I knew that since I was at IMG, my role was very limited because everyone's a good player there. Everyone's a future like everyone's a D1 player. Everyone's a future NBA prospect there. So it's tough to get a role in that environment. So I knew that since I was at IMG, obviously people wouldn't get to see my full game, and I'd be limited in my role. But I'd rather develop myself and become a better player rather than see myself on a ranking board.
As you said, you accumulated a lot of different offers throughout your time there. Your final three, though, come down to Baylor, Santa Clara, and obviously Purdue. One of those three, why are those your three final schools?
So Baylor obviously was they're probably my most highly ranked school that I got.
Mm-hmm.
But also I liked their coach. They were great. It was a great environment. I came so close to committing to Baylor on multiple occasions. After my visit, I was almost like 100% sure I was going to commit to Baylor. Just the environment there, the winning atmosphere, and like everyone works hard. So I really thought I was going to go there, but that's why I chose Baylor for my top three. For Santa Clara, that's one that not a lot of people expected for my top three. A lot of people counted it out, but I actually like the coach a lot, Coach Herb Sendek. He's a great coach. He's a great resume, but they're just a little bit too much of like a small school.
Mm-hmm.
And then Purdue was just a great fit for me. The people here are great. They have a great history with big people such as myself. And that's really all I had to ask for.
And we see a typical thing with guys when they go on a visit, they might be hooked on the school. As you mentioned, you were super close to committing to Baylor before. You're clearly obviously going to Purdue now. Was that something that kind of gave you advice to come back and maybe wait a couple of days, or who kind of made you kind of give you the advice not just to commit right after the visit?
It was my mom. She
Mm-hmm.
was. She said she reads up on all this stuff. She said, wait for like a week,
Mm-hmm.
see how you feel after a week, and then if you want, you can commit.
Throughout that next week, did you talk to Purdue in that time and they kind of get you really interested in them more, or how that kind of go throughout the course of the next week after that visit?
Yeah. So I I had given IMG kind of like the list of schools that I'd really interested in,
Mm-hmm.
and Purdue was on that list, and they got me hooked up with Coach Payne. I got on a phone call with him. He sent some coaches down to watch my practices. I got offered by them, and that's really Purdue was like my dream school because
Mm-hmm.
their history with big people, their winning history, and just like there's not much more you can ask for out of a school for me at least.
And as you mentioned, they have a rich history of the big men. We see constant guys that aren't just even like modern day smaller big men, but they've had a lot of the true 7 foot and above big men to run in the program. How appealing was that to you, and how's that kind of helped you seeing the history and track record of Coach Painter and the rest of the coaching staff?
I mean, it meant everything. Being able to see that they always give big people like a big role in the offense.
Mm-hmm.
See, they always trust the big people with the like on the court. A lot of college coaches can say it, but they can actually show it and show film to prove that they do it. So that meant a lot.
Another thing about Purdue is that they're a very stable program, two coaches in over a couple of few decades now, and that's something that very few programs can have and say, Coach Payne's been there for a long time now. How critical is that to you, and how important was it seeing the stability of the program?
I mean, yeah, it was a factor. It wasn't too big of a factor, but we obviously researched. It was Herb Sendek had only been at Santa Clara for a few years. Coach Drew at Baylor, it was like almost his contract year.
Mhm.
So being able to see that Coach Payne had been there for a while, and being able to see that they hadn't really, there had been no talks of getting rid of him or the coach before him, it meant a lot.
This is COVID year, and we know all the crazy stuff you guys have gone through, everyone in the world, but especially athletes. And I want to go through this offseason for you because it's not the typical one where we get to campus in June. You just got to have fun and kind of really develop over that time span. A lot of protocols, a lot of delays, stuff like that. How are you able to get accustomed to this offseason? How did you adjust to the COVID protocols and the COVID workouts?
I mean, it's been tough. Obviously, it's different than I expected. It's different than everyone expected. It's a strange freshman experience, but just being same, we were able to work with each other still.
Mhm.
We're still able to practice with each other, so it's not too different.
And now you're heading into Big Ten play, and you've really started to get down to this. As we mentioned, you're a starter now. Take us through the rest of this Big Ten play. How do you guys want to perform? How do you expect yourself to do over the rest of the season?
It doesn't. I don't really care how I perform as long as we're winning. I just want to. We want to win. Obviously, the Big Ten. That's one of our big goals. We want to be number one in the conference. We want to. We just want to win games. So as long as I can help my team win games, doesn't. I have no expectations for myself.
And that is what you're doing right now. 5-2 record heading you guys next game. Take us through this team though, you guys. As we mentioned, COVID has been crazy. To look at this chemistry early on, to be 5-2, great season, great start of the season so far. How are you guys feeling? How's the locker room? How's the chemistry looking?
Like I said, everyone, it's a great atmosphere here. Everyone likes each other. There's no hate in the locker room. Everyone wants to see each other succeed. So it's a very team first atmosphere in the locker room.
I have to ask for your field goal percentage. A lot of guys at your height can maybe perform on the field goal percentage wise. You're shooting at 70%. For free throw, we see tends to be a struggle with a lot of guys that are the big men, especially 7 footers. You're 73, 75% right now. How have you been able to work on and have this productive with free throw percentage?
Um, Free throws have been something I've worked on for a lot of my life. Obviously, I was gonna get fouled a lot, so whenever I'm practicing, I'm always shooting free throws, always working on my form, always working on my consistency. But I've always had a naturally good feel for free throws and shooting the basketball because I played baseball for so long. You have in baseball, you throw the ball with these two fingers, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but in basketball, although the ball's bigger, you're still supposed to have your last touch with these two fingers on the ball. So being able to have like the control and the feel for the ball that was naturally built in from years of pitching in baseball really helped me develop quickly.
That's an interesting point. We hear sometimes with basketball players that play two sports, typically football, and they talk about the similarities between those two sports. And with baseball, it's also kind of football and baseball kind of intermix. Not a lot of basketball and baseball players, though. Take us through that. Is how critical it was that to your development? How critical was that just for you becoming a better athlete? Was playing baseball?
I mean, it was great. Yeah, I was able to keep my hand-eye coordination way above other people of my size because obviously baseball is probably one of the most hand-eye coordinated, intensive sport like in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So that really helped me stay coordinated, stay on balance. And then for hockey, it helped me build like a stable base, helped me learn defensive principles like early on, like help defense, stuff like that. Because in hockey, the puck moves so fast that you really have to predict like 3 moves in advance where it's going to end up. So that really helped me with the transition as well on the defensive side of the ball.
To have the award Big Ten Freshman of the Week, you had a co-award with that. Just to see your name in that, to get that recognition, what did that mean to you, and where were you when you found that out?
It was at the end of practice. The coaches had announced. They said Big Zach won the co-freshman of the week this week. So that was cool. You got a few fist bumps, you high fives. But at the end of the day, it's just an award, just a name recognition. So just have to keep working, have to keep grinding, and continue to better myself.
Typically, we see that the coach and the point guard have a great relationship, but we've talked about a couple of times now. Coach Painter has been excellent with the big men. How is your guys' bond? How are you guys talking? How's your relationship growing now? Not just from the recruiting aspect, but now that you guys are kind of intermixed it now into the player and coach relationship.
I mean, Coach Payne's great. He's a great guy. He really helped me through my development. Helped me by getting touches in the game. He has a lot of trust in me. Couldn't have asked for a better situation to get into.
A few more things before I let you go. One of which is discussing your height. We mentioned 7'3", 7'4" now. Take us through this. This is obviously not an easy body to grow into, but how have you grown into becoming a 7-footer and becoming a 7'4" guy?
I mean, it's tough at times. Obviously,
Mhm.
there's the door frames to worry about. Always got to duck in the duck when I get into rooms. But I don't know. I liked my height. I wouldn't trade it for any height in the world. Um, I just enjoy it. It's a blessing.
Absolutely, man. Now, three more things before I let you go. One of which is discussing a legacy. It's something I always like wrapping up with. So when you are done playing basketball at Purdue, when you head into your basketball career and wrap it up someday, what do you ultimately want to remember for? What do you want your legacy to be? For what you achieve both on and off the court?
I just want to be remembered as a winner. I just want to be remembered as someone who brought Purdue a lot of success, helped Purdue reach its goals, and just a winning player.
My final thing for you, give Purdue fans your three biggest goals you have set for the remainder of your Purdue career.
Win a Big Ten championship, do well in the tournament, get a lot of buckets.
Absolutely, man. Well, I definitely appreciate you taking time to come on today, and I look forward to seeing what God got next for you, man. Of
Thank you.
course, you're always welcome on, man. God bless.
God bless.